I was definitely forced to work on the business more than in the business because of that. But I would also say that my love for business and some of my mentors had kind of drilled that into me already.
Detailer's Roadmap Cruise Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between. Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Cruise Control Podcast. We are here at WFCT and what do they call it? The Auto Glass Week. AGW, there's so many acronyms going on right now. I'm here with Kurt Felmar, who has been here before, and I'll actually let him do his own bio, tell us who he is. But we did an episode May 31st, 2023, just looked it up. And if you haven't listened to that, that's one of our earlier episodes, so go back and listen to that. Learn a lot about that. So hey, give me your background, give me your, we've already got kind of a little bit of the superhero, but we'll do it again. And give me an update on what's going on with your business. You know, you were making probably $100 million then, you're making $500 million now, right? The biggest shop ever.
Closer to $1 billion, yeah. No, so I own Detail Solutions, Ceramic Pro Elite dealer in Baltimore, Maryland. We've been in business for just over 10 years, going into the 11th year here soon. We've got, 8 employees in total. We're well into the 7-figure business. And we've been steadily growing, right? A lot of people that follow me and know who I am know that I was in corporate America for the last 14 years. Well, I guess it hasn't been the last, but I left on my birthday of last year and came full-time into my business May 12th, so just before that last podcast. But we continue to grow in all aspects of business, and right now we're really looking to strategically grow in a few areas and then start to spin off location number 2, location number 3. And also, I'm looking at some other avenues of business as well.
Are we allowed to talk about those?
Not so much in the coming months. They are automotive related.
Okay.
So it goes hand in hand with what we do. But I'm happy to come back on and talk about it and see how we can help other people in the future.
That would be great. And so you were in IT, right?
That's correct.
And you did mainly, like you were IT manager?
Yep, I spent a lot of time in various roles. I think I had 7 different roles in 9 years. And my most recent, when I left, I was the global network manager, yes.
Yeah, that's an easy job, right?
It's just sites globally.
Constantly saying Control-Alt-Delete. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
The joke in IT is the network is always the problem, even when the network is not the problem.
That's right.
It's always the first thing that gets blamed, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a hardware issue, software issue, it's always the network.
And it's always the frontline guys that are blaming the network.
It doesn't matter who. Frontline, back end, everybody blames the network so they don't have to troubleshoot and hope it comes back up first.
What I love about computer and IT and troubleshooting and all that is that it's one of those things that you can fix while someone's on the phone, and then you fix it and make them think it was never broken in the first place.
Oh, look, it's working. What did you do?
Yeah,
I didn't do anything.
Nothing. It's fine. It was fine the way that it was. What did you learn from, well, first of all, congratulations on making that switch. What was the motivation in staying at your main job for so long? Mm-hmm. And then kind of what was the thing that said, okay, I'm ready to jump ship and ready to make this happen?
Yeah, so I am a glutton for punishment. And my boss, James, if you listen to this, and I know you do listen to a lot of my stuff, and Brian as well, you guys know this, but 2 of my old bosses always asked me, why are you still here? Why are you still here? Why are you still here? And I always told them, I enjoy the chaos of growing my corporate career and everything that came with that, but also growing my business, quote, on the side. I'm one of those people that if I wake up on a Saturday morning and I don't have stuff to do, I start getting anxious and I lose it. I don't suffer from anxiety in any other aspect of my life, but if I don't have work to be done, I start to lose it, right?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting for me to kind of juggle both of those. And there's some things that I just didn't agree with anymore in the corporate world. And I knew, hey, this is the time, right? The people around me still had reservations because I had a pretty sweet gig, right? It was a very, I don't want to say safe, nothing's really safe in employment, but I had a bright future. And it was one of those things, and I've gone on the record and said this before, there's no such thing as the right time. The right time is now. And what I mean with that is don't take that advice and just run and go do something crazy. right? But if you've got an idea and it's something you're passionate about, it's not, oh, let me save up $10,000 before I do this, or okay, I want to get an extra employee before I do this. Focus on it and do it, and you'll make it happen, right? You will deliver if it's something you believe in, and you just start to put the effort towards it.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. I had all those plans, and bam, it was supposed to be, hey, December, I'm going to do this, and 9 months before that, it was, oh, we're expecting a daughter. And everyone was like, well, are you going to postpone it? I was like, nope, I'm sticking to it. And I continued to do what my goal was. I did have some goals also in the corporate world that I wanted to make sure I checked off. So I did delay my move a little bit, but it wasn't like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, it was a hard set in stone thing. And I gave myself a birthday gift and left on my birthday.
That's super cool. I mean, I love that idea. And honestly, you're probably one of those that delayed it much longer than what most people do, but it's also situational, right? Like if you freaking hate your job and you're barely able to go to work every day and you have this side gig and it's actually able to support you, then that's probably easier than like, I'm an IT guy, I do a lot of my work from my house, things are pretty sweet, I'm getting paid, I got, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, there does come a point in time where the bad outweighs the good, for sure. But for me, I felt a very strong connection to my employer. I loved the place, I loved what they do, I love food, and it was a food business. And I did stick around for that, but I also stuck around because of the people. And then at some point in time, it was this sucks. I don't like this, right? So I made the decision and said, nope, we're sticking to it. My future's gonna be brighter when I'm in control of it. And again, you make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like you were doing $3,000 a month at the time when you left your business was like, but I think one of the things that's interesting, and I can't remember if we talked about this before, but that forced you to create systems to where the business can run without you, right?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, so we were by no means a small business. I had anywhere from 3 to 6 people working and running the day-to-day, right? I was managing from afar, if you will. I'm kind of just pulling on the strings and making some leadership decisions and strategies, and my staff was delivering on those. We were in the $50,000 to $80,000 a month range at the time. I used my corporate background and some of our training and SOPs and policies and procedures and architected those and put them in place in the detailing business, right? Hey, onboarding looks like this, sales looks like this, a detail looks like this, PPF looks like that, whatever it might be, and we systematize things to make it scalable and repeatable and duplicatable without me being there from 9 to 5, right? I might be there one day a month from 9 to 5, or I might be there from 4:30 to 5:30 once a week at best, and we made it work from that.
Do you think you would have taken that same path if you didn't have a full-time gig?
In terms of the
okay,
SOPs
so you were kind of forced, right? Like you can only be at the shop so many hours, so you're almost forced in order to create. So I'm so like if I'm got a smaller business, I hear what you're saying and I'm like, oh, I really need to do that, but I really don't have to. Like I can get away with it.
Yeah, so I'll kind of spin that on a book that we both love, The Technician Mindset, right? Versus working in your business versus on your business, right?
E-Myth Revisited.
Bingo, yep. Thanks for the shout out there, right? I was definitely forced to work on the business more than in the business because of that. But I would also say that my love for business and some of my mentors had kind of drilled that into me already. So it worked out perfectly. Do I have regrets of not jumping into the business sooner? Yeah, because I can only imagine where we would be. And I think everything would have shifted to the left if I did, right? I probably would have done the same things, but I would definitely have been more of a technician mindset and a technician employee of my own business for a lot longer had I done it that way. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said and alluded to before, it happens when it's supposed to happen, right? So like you were mentally ready, you were physically ready, you knew, and you had everything. I mean, it's not easy what you do. How many hours, what are you spending in the business now?
In terms of an actual work week, I don't know. I don't like to qualify or quantify that.
You don't want people to know the answer to that?
I'm very honest, right? I mean, I work a lot.
Yeah.
My wife also works with me. Jen, shout out, I love you. You kill it. She does my sales, right? She's awesome in the front office, and she's an absolute sales killer.
Does she enjoy doing that?
I think so. Yeah. No, she's made it very clear she enjoys sales. I don't think she would want to do anything else within the business. Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. I don't know. I don't want to speak for her, but I don't think she would. But yeah, if I had to go back and say, what do I actually work? And I don't consider it work, right? Again, going back to my mindset.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily consider it work, but I'm in the shop from about 8:30 on average. We'll just say 4 o'clock. Because we are small business owners, we do enjoy some flexibilities of, we have kids, school pickup and this and that, but I definitely work 10, 11 hours a day in some capacity, whether it's I'm looking into my analytics, I'm contacting somebody, I'm following up on this or that, and I'm just looking at data, right? I'm definitely in there a lot more than 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yesterday on my flight down, I'm on Wi-Fi and I'm working, I'm checking this and that versus, the guy next to me is asleep, the guy next to him's watching Netflix, but I'm working, right?
Yeah.
Some of those peaceful times I get the most done.
Yeah. I had a 4-hour flight down here, and I'm working on a book, so I wrote a ton of stuff, and I'm reworking some of my product pages and all this different stuff. So yeah, that's that time when your phone doesn't work, but your Wi-Fi works is great, right? Yep. Yeah. Well, what would you say to people that don't necessarily? Oh, let me ask you this first of all. What do you think is innate in your personality and or what you've learned, and kind of maybe you can spell some of those things out, that leads to your level of success, right? So not everyone, and I've said this on the podcast more than once, not every small business owner is an entrepreneur, and that's okay. Like it's okay for you just to be a small business owner. You don't have to do 7-8 figures. That kind of thing. But if someone is saying, man, I wish that I knew what Kurt knows so that I can continue to grow my business, what do you think those central things are?
So there's a few things that I want to touch on here, so I'm going to try and remember them and touch them all. The number one is what you just said. What do I know that made it work for me? That doesn't always work for you, right?
Right.
And I find some of the guys that go out and talk in guarantees and say, I did this and it was successful for me. Every market is very different. So I spin this and I say, one of the things that I learned from a boss of mine also was fail fast and fail cheap. And what I mean by that is find out what does and doesn't work. So the technician mindset who's not the entrepreneur, understand your role in your business. You may not be the manager. You may not be the person that's in the front. Fail fast and fail cheap, as in don't try and hurt your business by doing that. Hire somebody, hire a Kevin to be out there running the front of the shop and you're in the back installing PPF, right?
Hey, you know that little thing on your phone when you search and you say business near me? Well, people aren't finding you when they search for ceramic coating near me, detailing near me, tint shop near me, PPF shop near me. They're not finding you as well as they should, or they're not finding you in the areas that you'd like to. Detailer's Roadmap has a solution. I want to introduce our new Google Business and Maps Accelerator. We have got this great new program that not only gives you an opportunity to do some search engine optimization, SEO, but in a very specific way that is designed to be map friendly, Google business friendly, and in order to get you more leads in areas that you're currently in and areas that you also want to target that may be slightly out of your own area. So go to detailersroadmap.com, use that little schedule a demo button at the top, and tell them in that form that you want to do the Google Business and Maps Accelerator program. Take a look at that. It's very cost effective and a very entry level price, and it's awesome. Because I mean, to that point, I think a lot of people think I'm the business, right? Because they're listening to you and they're like, I need to be the business owner. I don't, I'll stay in the back office. Well, A, maybe you suck at it, and B, maybe you don't even like it.
How many guys in our industry are that grumpy person, right? Customer has an issue, they're telling them off, they're borderline yelling at them, and no, you might be a great installer, but you might not be great at customer service. You might not be great at sales. So know your role and put people in the right places. That's an incredibly important part of management and entrepreneurship.
Yep.
is putting people where they're needed most and putting the right people in that place, right?
Including yourself.
Exactly, yeah, and you hurt your ego sometimes doing that, but on the other side of ego is success.
Right.
And the other thing that I would say that really helps me is being honest with myself on things and knowing, hey, you're not going to succeed at this, so let's pivot and go this way. And one of the things that I always say is I make it work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm sure, Mom, Dad, if you're listening, I've made you guys scared many a times. Jen, right, my wife, she's of the mindset and she understands I've never failed at anything because I do whatever I have to make it work. That's not to say I haven't had some losses, but I have learned from them and pivoted accordingly to make it a positive in any aspect of my life, right?
Well, and by not failing, you almost mean, the way I see it is it means you didn't give up. You continued to, small failures, cheap failures, then led to big successes.
You might have a goal, and that goal changes because you realize that goal wasn't the right one.
Yeah.
Right? And the one other thing that I do want to say, what you touched on about entrepreneurs is, if you're in business, especially this side of our business, not everyone wants a 7-figure, 8-figure business.
More money, more problems.
And I say this in jest, but I've said this on the record with other people is, there are some times when I've daydreamed of working out of I used to have a 1,000 square foot garage at home, working out of that garage, outfitting it, making it beautiful, and just slamming work, right? Mm-hmm. Matt Jones was in a similar situation. He's moved on to the shop much like I did. There are some people in this business that want a lifestyle career where they want to work on 2 or 3 bigger jobs a week and then have a lot of flexibilities. You can be wildly successful doing that. You can absolutely love your life and love your business doing that. And then you can also get into the 8, 10, 20, 40 employees and make hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Figure that out and go that way. Don't just look at other people's success and say, that's what I want, because it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think we throw around these numbers like 7- and 8-figure business and 9-figure businesses and all that stuff as if this is the end goal, right? And I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I had all my revenue numbers on my wall on a big whiteboard. Quarter, annual, all this stuff. And I was talking to my business coach, and I was like, I constantly obsess about numbers. He goes, I want right now, like I'm on Zoom call with him, you need to erase. So I took a picture of it. I had to erase, just so I had it, for my reference. I erased all of that, and I wrote, have fun, serve others, and build a life. Yeah. Those are the three goals of my business. And if I do those things, the money will
comes.
follow, or it won't. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. People have to be okay with, like, you. And I've said it on podcasts too. We probably said it before, but if you chase money, there'll never be enough. Like, if that's your end goal.
Yeah, chasing things. There's no happiness in that. Right? It's just a constant. Right. One of the super buzzwords these days is the dopamine and dopamine hits. Right. Like, I've lived that life, and it is not fruitful. It's just stressful, right? And it is not rewarding. You can have things, and it doesn't feel great because now you want the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. But when you chase happiness and identifying what that is, it's a lot better, right?
Yeah.
When you're chasing things, you're really, unless you're chasing the journey, there is no happiness.
And it's supposed to be fun. I've said that. That's why number 2 is have fun. Like, if you don't have fun at what you do for a living, whether you're an employee or a business owner, you need to either change how you're doing it or change what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. And that's one of the things. May 15th, 2023 was my first full-time day in my business. I have not worked a day since then. Right. And people look at me crazy because I just said about how much, I work 60, 70, 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. I have not felt like I've worked yet.
Yeah.
I've had stresses, but they're my stresses and I control them, and I enjoy every bit of it. I love being around my guys. I love being around my gals that are up front. I love dealing with my customers and all the hardships that come with every aspect of it. And I enjoy it. It's fun. It's exciting. And while it is stressful, it's not the same stresses that I dealt with in the past. I'm not over here like feeling like I'm having a heart attack every week, right? Or every phone call, my heart sinks because what's going on that I really don't have control over, right?
It's a control thing, right? Like that it's like the ability to control your own destiny seems to mitigate the stress, right?
Correct.
I'll put my coach hat on a little bit. How are you, if you're working that many hours, obviously you work with your bride, as I like to call my wife of 29 years, how do you balance that with your family and your kids' time? Because I mean, you're like me. You'd close a business today if it meant, if your family required it, right? Like,
Absolutely.
how do you balance that kind of stuff?
That is a constant struggle. And early on, when we both were first there together, it was tough, right? I mean, Jen used to look at me and be like, "What are you doing?" Right? And then there was a time where I'd be like, "Get off the iPad," right? Like, let's focus.
Yeah.
And we do a really good job now, right? I've set it in my calendar on my watch. You know, it's got, you know, dinner blocks. And I love to work from my calendar. It sounds very strange, but I love it because if it's there, I do it. And if it's not there, it doesn't mean it's your time either, right?
Yeah.
It's time for what I want to do because I don't have anything scheduled, or our time, whatever it might be. But yeah, we definitely try. And evenings until the kids go to bed, there is no discussions of work unless something hit the fan.
Right.
Weekends, same thing. And, you know, I coach kids sports. My son's of that age to be playing, and he's playing on multiple sports. So now I feel like we're getting a lot more family time, and it's getting more unique because our daughter is growing. She just turned 2. So like we're really starting to find that family dynamic even more so than
That's
before.
when they start getting a little more fun. When they, you know, terrible twos are also a lot of fun, but I mean, they're a pain in the ass, but like that's when they start to be like little miniature people to where you can interact a little bit more with them.
The personality comes out, right? But yeah, we're really starting to build a more mature family dynamic as everybody gets older and they've got their own schedules and things. So it's really enjoyable for us to be able to do that, and we just stick with it because we know that the business isn't the end all. It is family. Family is our bond.
Yeah.
And that's what life is all about. You know, my team at the shop, I hate the saying, we're family. But like, I take care of them and they take care of us, obviously.
Yeah.
But I encourage all of them, like, your family comes before this place.
Yeah.
And they should, and I hope they all know, right? The same for me, right? I mean, things happen. This place will continue on because we've built it that way, whether it's for them or us to be absent in a family need, right?
Yeah.
And one of the other things, I mean, everyone jokes about it. Jen and I love to come down here in Orlando, right? I mean, literally, we'll be back here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We use it for another great book, the 12-week year. We use it as a tool for our business of goal setting and then, you know, goal achievements. But it's also a great reset for us to come down here, get some alone time or some family time, enjoy the weather, especially in the winter time.
Yeah.
But, you know, we come down here and we do work as well. It's just a good reset to get away and bond away from the office.
Yeah. So. Ironically, we owned a house in Davenport. My kids were homeschooled, so when they were younger, and I live in Montana, you live in Maryland, my weather's slightly worse than yours.
Slightly.
But we would spend like 3 months out of the year in Orlando. One year we went 62 times to Disney World because they would like do homeschool in the morning. I would work in the morning. I'm up early, and then we would just go for like 3 or 4 hours. In the afternoon, we're 15 minutes away. But I highly recommend, like, if you're not taking time away from your business to recharge, and you know, it's funny because I was thinking about I have a really hard time with resting also, but the last like year, 6 months to a year, I've been really working hard at being better at resting.
It's an incredibly powerful thing, and don't look at resting as sleep or this and that. Sleep is wildly important, but just doing nothing sometimes, right? You know, yes, I've really worked on sleep, and like literally like the guys that I'm down here with, we were joking, I was like, I'm normally in bed at 9:30, and last night I think it was like 2 o'clock when we got back, and tonight we're going to go venture out to Halloween Horror Nights as a last minute
Jim,
thing.
you'll find out about this later. I know he told you he wasn't going to go to Universal, but
but yeah, that's the thing. Like, rest isn't always truly downtime, right? It's this as well, right? Disconnecting and disassociating from business or even just life in general. It is incredibly important, and physical well-being, right? The opposite of rest, if you will, right? Being out and exercising, same thing. Normally at 12 o'clock, I've got a reminder to go to lunch, and then at 12:30, it's take a walk.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that me and the guys were doing. Like, everybody was getting involved in going out for physical activity at key times during the day, and it's been pretty great for everybody mentally and physically, right?
Yeah.
We've all dropped a few pounds.
Nice. Yeah, I started time blocking probably 3 months ago, and somebody was trying to get an appointment. He wanted to get me on. He's like, why can't I just call you? And I sent him a screen capture of my calendar. I'm like, you see this circle? That's you in 2 weeks. Because I time block all day, every day. And on my Mondays and Friday, my job's different than yours. I spend a lot of time in front of the computer and writing and doing social and all that stuff, but I block out, I don't do calls or meetings on Mondays or Fridays. So that I know they call it deep work. Have you heard that?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's where you can do your deep work stuff. But if you're not doing time blocking, I would highly recommend that you do it, because and again, it's like budgeting, right? You know, they always talk about, I can't do a budget that's so restrictive, but it's not.
No.
And the same thing with time. Time, you have to budget your time. They talk about that all the time.
You will find any excuse not to do something.
Yeah.
So when you force yourself to stick to it, especially in business, right? The things that make the biggest improvements in your business are oftentimes not the most fun and satisfying or sexiest.
Right.
So forcing yourself to do those things is critically important. And again, even when it's on there, you've got to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Find a buddy system, right? Call Kevin and say, Kevin, make sure Monday at 9 o'clock I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Or maybe on Wednesday we have a phone call and say, hey, did you do what you were supposed to?
Yeah. Did you do it? How'd your time block go today?
Yep.
And like for me on Wednesday afternoons, I do content creation. Like that's when I'm shooting product videos and if I don't have that on my calendar, I'll always find something else to do. And then I'll go the next week and I'll be like, I don't have my new content that I needed to do my new ads or whatever, right?
You will delay the things that you don't want to do longer than it takes to actually do them.
Yeah.
Which is crazy,
100%.
right? It's like, I don't want to do the dishes in the sink, so I'm going to do this for 45 minutes, but those dishes would have taken 3 minutes, right?
Right.
And it's like, now you've wasted a lot more time because you didn't want to do it. Same thing. I really don't want to go through and look at my consumables or balance my QuickBooks or things like that. Do the damn thing.
But if you put it on your calendar, you will do it, right? Yep. Like that's and have your reminders and all, and then make that commitment. My coach and I talk a lot about integrity, and people think about integrity as an external, like, you know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do for you. But integrity is internal.
Yep.
Just like that. If I put it on my calendar, my integrity says I'm going to make that happen, right? What piece of advice would you give? We're going to interrupt with this guy, but what piece of advice would you give based on the last 15 months since we've talked before? Kind of give like just one big nugget for these guys that are listening and gals.
Cool. So,
all right, perfect.
I'll pre-qualify this. One of the things that I'm seeing, I work with a lot of guys in this industry and do some behind-the-scenes mentoring. I'm really passionate about helping guys grow, right? I'm seeing a lot of stagnancy and decline for guys, right? So one of the things that I would really encourage everybody to do is build systems and touch points. And what I mean by that is sales and retouches of people that have been to your business, right? You're gonna have to nurture people a lot more right now.
Yeah.
We're getting more inquiries than ever, but the time to close is longer than ever. Really take care of those people, build a relationship with those people, and just work on them over time. We used to close a job that would come in or a lead that would come in from Monday on Wednesday. Now we might get it on Monday the 1st and we close it on Thursday the 28th. Right? So the time to close is a lot longer. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. A lot of the guys I'm talking to are, this sucks. My leads are awful. Sales are down. It's this and that. But how many people did you give up on?
Yep.
Right? How many people did you actually care about? And then the same thing is take care of your customers. Your customers that you serviced 6 months ago or 2 years ago, probably really happy with your product. Let's keep them happy with it and keep them around. So retouch those people. One of the biggest things that I'm all about is customer service. Just be a person and reach out. Hey, I know we did your car a year and a half ago. How's everything?
Yeah.
Oh, you sold it? Well, what can we do, right? Not everything's a sale.
What did you do to replace it? I'm just interested. Like, yeah.
But the other thing there is, not everything's a sale.
Right.
So don't just call people with it's been a year since we coated your car, let's get it back in for your annual, or let's get it recoated. Just care about people.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
And if you've done good notes in your CMS, you can say, hey, I see your daughter turned 5 or whatever, that kind of stuff, right? Nurturing that.
Be personable and just really nurture the sales process. It is an interesting time right now in the market, but I don't see a decline. Right? And also, don't ever go into it with that mindset.
No.
Work on growth, find out what you can do better.
Yeah. 100%. Chris was talking earlier about the current sales cycle for most people is like 92 days. So people spend 92 days from the time they first start investigating a decent sized purchase to making that purchase. That's 3 months. So if you're listening to this, which it'll probably be out pretty soon, and you're saying, oh, I'm about to go into my slow time. No, you're about to go into a different kind of time. And you need to make the sales for January today.
Yeah.
Right, that's the thing. So, Kurt, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoy not going to Universal tonight. So, yeah, we'll call your wife. And
I already
ask her how
ruined
that
it. I
went.
told her earlier. She actually told me to go ahead because I could save her the horror. So
Gave you that permission. All right, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
thanks as
All right.
always.
Yeah. Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.